Hi, this is Samir, and this is another quick tutorial for DPIT Effex 1.6. And in this tutorial I would like to show you how to use the variable density feature of the liquid solver, because it was kind of requested by the YouTube users when I posted the ink and water simulation. So why not taking a chance? And I have in mind something, for example, that is similar to the ink version, and I haven't done this before. It just came to my mind, and I thought, why not screen capturing what I'm doing here and provide it as a tutorial for the DPIT Effex users. So what I have in mind is bubbles that are floating upward inside of an open water, for example, right? And although DPIT Effex does not provide you with a direct solution for creating bubbles, well, actually, bubbles are simply air pockets that of course have a lower density, because air has a much lower density than water, and therefore due to the buoyancy force are moving upward. So what I need, of course, is a container with water in it, and I just put it down here like this. And let's say we fill up that container now with water, which we do. So yeah, go into the object here and fill up that container. We know it is 500 by 500, of course. And I also look up, we have here 312. I just copy and paste it here into the field like this. And now we have a filled up container. I like to use probably a little lower height here in order to simulate a surface. Let's say 375, yes. I just put it down here so it is really at the bottom, because when we increase the resolution, the safe frame, which is shown here in yellow, will also move a little more toward the container ends here. So I can be sure that water is always everywhere once the resolution is increased. Alright, so I have a kind of a surface here, and again, I only want the container to be filled up in the first frame, because otherwise it would emit all the time particles, which we don't need. Okay, so we have a fill up container now here, and now we can create the bubbles for it. For now, just play simulation. The water just remains still. Well, we have already almost 300,000 particles here, but well, it's fine. So what I now need are sources for the bubbles. And actually, I don't use any air or, you know, like a real air pocket, but I simply use a different density for the other emitters that I use. So let's just create, and I turn off this generator now here. Click A button for refresh, so we can work faster. And well, all we need are actually spheres that are emitting our bubbles, and so I also set a duration of 1 for the emission. Okay, so what I do now, now that I have an emitter for a bubble, it's just very simple setup, but it should work. I changed the property type, and this is where the variable density now comes into play. So we have a constant mode here, so we have a constant density everywhere, but we want it to be variable. So I set it like this, and I get new options here, and we have the field setting here, which is named density. And when I activated, we can now use a variable density, right? And each emitter can now also emit a certain density for the liquid particles that are emitted. And well, we have here the water emitter, and we want it to be the density of water, which is approximately 1,000 kilogram per cubic meter. So we keep it like that, but the air bubbles should of course have a much lower density. And in reality, air has, well, approximately a density of 1.23 kilogram per cubic meter, and that's what we set here, and that's actually it. And that's all that you need to do to activate the variable density and to let the bubbles now rise upward, right? So of course when I now play a simulation, they would simply fall down because they are not inside of water. What I therefore have to do is of course activate the water emitter, and well, that's it. And now what I do is I hide the particles, the liquid particles, so they're all gone, but I create a measure for the bubbles, right? Now of course it doesn't see the bubbles, so I turn it off, and what I need now in order to let the measure only generate a mesh for the lower density particles is I need a particle group. So I kind of need to separate the normal water from the bubbles, right? And so I go into the liquid solver, into the particles tab, and I create a particle group like this, right? So I have a particle group, I rename it, let's say bubbles mesh group. And if I now go back into the bubbles emission settings, I can now choose this particle group, right? So I emit the particles for the bubbles into the bubbles mesh group. And what I now need to do is also change the particle group for the mesher now to the bubbles mesh group. And if I now activate it, there you go. Only the particles from the bubbles mesh group are now meshed, right? So I could now simulate it, and as you can already see, as it has a lower density as the water is surrounding it, the bubble is now, or the air pocket, as you can see it, is now moving upward. And well, that's how it's done. Really easy actually. You just have some objects, and just as you can see, you can be creative. Don't wait for, oh, when does a bubble module come for DPIT Effex. Simply try to be creative. You know, just you have the variable density option here, and a lot of stuff that we can see in fluids or liquids happen due to different densities or different viscosities. So this is just one way. And of course, if we would increase the resolution, we would get a much more detailed simulation. Now here we can see it breaks up already, which is of course not what we would want. But with a higher resolution, you have more particles, and you have, and therefore you have less chance for it to break up, right? So, but that's how it's done. Easy, isn't it? So just try it out, play a little bit with the settings, and I'm sure you will get to some nice solutions and simulations.